Orals Digest is back like the backbone.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The worst joke of the year. We are back. And the reason why we are back is because of a tragic accident that happened last week, August the 7th. The crash of the Cessna Citation from AMREF.
6 fatalities have been confirmed after a plane crashed in Mwihoko, Kiambu County. The plane was an AMREF flying doctor's air ambulance and had 4 on board. 2 other lives were claimed on impact.
It passed over our house, like literally. It was burning. There was fire. And it passed over us, it came, and all of a sudden we had a loud explosion. Boom! And everyone came out. Everyone responded like, what has happened?
Hiyo ndege ililipukia juu. And tulikuwa tu hapa Catholic. Venye ililipuka ikakuja kama imeingia kwa this plot.
Yes, 6 dead. Yes, 2 doctors, 2 nurses. Of course, with the pilot, you can see the wreckages. And then, 2 on the ground, you can see on the house. It landed fatally on the house.
Civil Aviation Authority says air traffic control lost both radio and radar contact with the aircraft just 3 minutes after takeoff.
I was reading this story, and going through that story, I was trying to ask myself, when is the last time we had such an accident in the country? It was quite a while. So I decided to dig into this particular story. So just getting you back to the facts of the accident. Just outside Nairobi, an air ambulance operated by AMREF crashed at the Mwihoko area. And 4 people, the crew, 2 captains and 2 nurses died in that accident, including 2 people on the ground who were the 2 occupants of the houses, of one house, which burned or got destroyed by that particular accident. So this is very tragic. And as part of the air accident investigation in all countries in the world, including Kenya, there's usually an initial investigation done to give preliminary results, and then an extended investigation done to get to the root cause of the accident. Now, that usually takes time. Sometimes it takes up to 2 years for that to happen. But from a preliminary analysis, I thought about what might have happened in this accident. So I started pulling in the information about this aircraft and information that is available online. This particular model of a Cessna Citation XLS was initially manufactured in, I believe it was 1998. And from that time to date, about 1,000 units have been shipped. The specific model that AMREF had was manufactured in 2007, and then it was delivered to a German private jet company, which operated it for several years and then sold it to another airline in Malta, from when now AMREF got the aircraft. So the aircraft was about 18 years old. For as aircraft goes, that's still within the range of what's a good operable aircraft, because it takes about 30 years for the aircraft to be worn out and the hull not to be usable in that case, and then it has to be retired off. So 18 years is still very good condition. Now, this aircraft came to the hands of AMREF around 2019, and they used it specifically as an air ambulance. Initially, this aircraft was built as a business jet, about 7 passengers configuration, mostly used to fly corporate executives. Then AMREF acquired it for purposes of having air ambulances. This aircraft is a short-haul aircraft. The maximum distance is about 3,000 kilometers, which means if it has to go, let's say from Africa to Europe, it has to have stops in Addis, perhaps somewhere in the Middle East, and then go to Europe. So it cannot be used for long-haul evacuations. Fast forward to last year. Something interesting enough, first of all, was that actually AMREF had placed this aircraft on sale, which could be an indication that either the running costs were too high, or there's something they thought, they needed to get a much more efficient aircraft. A typical cost for this aircraft is about 3.5 million US dollars, which is north of 450 million Kenyan shillings. Not cheap at all. Now, the next thing that while I was searching for information online, I found this website, ADBS Exchange, which is a website which tracks aircraft using the ADSB system, which is a satellite system that allows aircraft to broadcast a myriad of metrics, including speed, location, and a few other things. And several people can take that information and put it up on the website. So while I was looking at this data, I was like, okay, let's look at the trajectory of the aircraft, the speed as it took off up to the place where the last known data was sent back to the ADBS system. Now, this aircraft starts off normally. If you look at the speed, it picks up from about 500 knots, takes a corner, starts climbing, and what would you expect as now the speed keeps going up, and the speed goes up a little bit, flattens off a little bit, and then goes up as you expect a normal aircraft to take off. And then immediately 4 minutes after that takeoff, everything disappears. No data, no communication. Okay, let's backtrack. If an aircraft has a problem, something that the pilots are trying to diagnose, you expect perhaps the altitude to go up and down, showing signs of struggle with either an engine or something that's amiss in this. But this aircraft, from that particular trajectory, the aircraft was going okay, and then boom, nothing else. So I started asking myself, like, what's the likely cause of this happening? It means there was complete electrical failure in all systems. It means that's why it cannot send out information about its location and speed. So either all the engines blew apart, something happened, and the electrical power died immediately, and now the aircraft started falling down. The reason why this is so weird, it's rarely when there's an accident that happens, mostly in Kenya, you rarely have this kind of an aircraft just falling off the sky from nothing. Either it's a crash that it hit the side of a mountain, or the aircraft was struggling with weather and it was trying to gain altitude and something happened and the aircraft had to go down eventually. And if you look at the profile of how it was gaining altitude, then you can tell like this aircraft was struggling. But in this case, nothing. It's just like what you'd call a catastrophic event. Something happened, like you get hit by a lightning or something powerful, and then boom, the aircraft no longer exists. Now, if you look at the information that's around about witnesses, initially people thought it was a military chopper and so on and so forth. And then before AMREF clarified about the particular jet that they were flying. And some eyewitness say that the aircraft was in flames before it got on the ground.
Ilikuwa inaenda kiangusha moto juu tulipatana na parts zingine zimemwagika.
Ilikuwa inazura ikaanza kutoa moshi juu. Once tukasikia impact sababu inaonekana, unajua sasa ile ikitoka juu inapelekwa na upepo.
That has been substantiated, but from the data that I was looking at the altitude, that makes sense. That there was a catastrophic failure. There was like fire on board, or something completely went amiss. Now, the actual information of what happened sits in the black box. And now that it's been recovered, that's where the actual, all the additional information of the engine performance, how the flaps were set up, and all that will be in the data recorder, and that will tell us what had really happened, and if it had a cockpit voice recorder to know whether the pilots actually sent out some distress signals to the air traffic control. But before that gets there, what do you think really happened? Tell us in the comments. That's it for this week. We are back like the back.
The hell no! That's